everyone, Schizomanic here. This is a video that I've been meaning to make because it kind of falls into the line of shit that needs to be talked about. And I think every anime fan kind of goes through this when you've been watching anime as long as I have. I've been technically watching anime since I was a kid, but if we want to talk about realistically, consistently following anime, that was around like somewhere between 2004 and 2007. It's been almost been over 10 years. Um, you get kind of complacent. That's what this video is about, anime complacency. It's where you figure out over the first few years of your anime fandom, you're kind of consuming and watching everything that's coming out, and over time you're developing your taste and what you do and you don't like, and you're starting to pick apart all the little things. The more you watch, the more you start picking the little things that you like and the little things you don't like, until you can kind of get to where your favorites are at and why they're your favorites. Even though some people don't think about it as heavily as that, some people just like certain aspects of their shows. But what I mean by complacency is that you end up, once you hit that level of I know exactly what I like and exactly what I don't like, the problem that is now created is that now you're like, well, I'm only going to watch shows that hit at least certain beats so I can get into it. But you got to remember something as a fan. The reason why you even developed those tastes in the first place is because you were consuming everything. Now, I'm not saying consuming everything, but if you feel like you're going through a lull period, like I have been feeling recently, probably within the last 2 years, last 2 or 3 years actually, it's primarily because you won't allow yourself to be risky anymore. That's the one thing I hate the fact that I don't do anymore. I don't take risks with shows anymore like I used to. I used to buy, and people used to remember when I was doing those videos, I used to buy like everything under the fucking sun. And I used to just blind buy shit because I knew that would give me a chance. Now, granted, blind buying is not the smartest thing to do, especially if you ain't got the money. Usually, what I would suggest nowadays is blind streaming, where you just randomly start watching a show for the fuck of it. The thing is, I've been getting burned within these last few seasons. Just to name some examples, fucking Sword Art Online when that came out, Kill la Kill, that was some bullshit. Akame got killed with some bullshit. Attack on Titan was some bullshit. To me, these are all to me, not to everyone else. Almost every mainstream popular series that was going on during that time, I just did not have any fucks to give about it because I was already tired of it. And part of this is because a lot of these animes have gotten really samey and safe about shit. And it's like made things really, really either obvious or I just don't give a fuck. Like, for example, something like Kisniver or Your Lie in April. Like, Kisniver pretty much just had a very gimmick on top of the stereotypical fucking group of friends who all have feelings for each other and there's these various conflicts going on and shit. It's the same shit. You just had the gimmick of the pain gimmick. That doesn't make the show bad. It made me very uninterested because, like, all right, I know how this is gonna go. So there's nothing inherently interesting, and the character designs weren't. Well, the character designs were okay, which just made me a little interested. But it's like the plot's about the same as I expected to be, and I'm just not in the mood to watch that kind of shit again. Your Lie in April was that same stereotypical shit happens to a guy, and the girl, this crazy overactive girl, pulls him out of the rut. Unfortunately, the problem with that is that usually those shows end tragically. That's usually, and once I found out that the girl was sick, I was like, oh, she's either going to die or they're gonna come up with some bullshit to save her. I'm not gonna say which one it is because it's spoiling the end of the anime, and I know they just released the dub on Crunchyroll, and I don't want to do that. But needless to say, it just kind of took me out of the experience. And some of you will be like, well, you need to go into a series blind and just say, fuck it. It's kind of hard now because all the shows I got excited for these last few months, these last few seasons I've been getting excited for are adaptations to mangas that I'm looking forward to. And so that's why I'm making a promise to myself for this next season, the fall season, I'm just going to throw caution to the wind and say, fuck it. Now, some of these shows I'm looking forward to because I've watched either shows within the same universe, but I'm going to be taking some risks here. I see a few of these that look interesting. Whichever ones are the most interesting, I'm not sure. I haven't really looked up a lot of the plots for these, But the ones I see that may get my attention off the bat is one's called Occult 9. Fuck it, why not? I'm looking just to the hell of it. I might try out this thing called Drifters. I see something called Shumatsu no Izeta. A lot of this is just me throwing caution to the wind. Whether I even still like this shit by the end of it is a different story, but we're just gonna see how much of this stuff I actually give a fuck about. Some of these are second seasons, and I haven't watched the first seasons for a lot of these shows. I know Keijo has gotten a lot of fucking traction because of the premise of the show and because of the animation for the show. It's pretty much exactly what like it's like that high animation for fan service bullshit. The problem is it looks like Keijo is just another one of those fucking fan service series that technically is a sports series but has a lot of fan service by proxy. But the character designs, nothing about the anime looks interesting at all. Like nothing. Oh, it's a female only cast for the most part, and there's like the one boy character. I read like the first few chapters of the manga. She wants to get into the sport, and she's inspired by the sport. Once the sport, it's like some body bullshit ass wrestling. It's like pseudo wrestling where you use your hips, any part of your body except for your hands and feet, to knock people out of this little ring, then knock them into the water. Which obviously shows off the heavy focus on fan service. It's not anything special, and I'm not even gonna bother with it. But I bet you it will be probably the equivalent to maybe like Free for this season, because it's a fan service show with good animation. If it had shitty animation, it probably wouldn't even get as much of traction as it's going to get. It's going to get way more traction because it has good animation. Well, at least for the action sequences, it looks like it has good animations. And it's good animation on ass and titties. Then you have the next... I don't know if I would call this the next season or the next... I guess this is like the next... I guess this is the spinoff of Working. And I love Working. I love how Working was handled and ended. And it was 3 seasons of greatness. Obviously going to be checking out the sequel. Hopefully it's more like Working like it's supposed to be. And it's not like fucking Servant X Service, which to me was trying to be working in a fucking office setting. And it doesn't really work as well, because it's also dealing with adults, so it's not as interesting. There's a few other things on here I might give a chance, like Soul Buster, which looks like it probably is going to be a possible bullshit show. I don't know. There's not enough information on it. Then you got stuff like Kitaro Shonen no Yokai Inki. It's a yokai show, and it's a slice of life. Fuck it. Why not? And then the rest of this is just like a whole bunch of pandering bullshit that either doesn't look interesting at all, or a fucking sports parody and bullshit series. And then obviously I'm watching more JoJo. I might fuck with Tiger Mask W, because I've been seeing this thing a lot, and I'm like, you know what? I need to go ahead and... But it's a sports series. I'm so tired of sports series for anime. Just don't work as well for me. They work better than like real life sports, but that's not saying much when they weren't on my radar at all, and they're like kind of on my radar. They're like barely on my radar in anime. But the whole point of this next fall season is trying to push the boundaries of what I'm willing to take in, because the biggest problem is that right now I'm stuck in this weird thing where I only literally watch like action shonen manga and like slice of life / harem manga, which granted can cover a wide variety of shit, but the one genres I've walked away from is like sinning, because sinning is either badly written for me a lot of the time, or it's just fucking boring. It's just fucking... Well, not boring. It's like the appeal of sinning I hate, because every time people watch sinning, it always turns into this fucking thing about how cool it is and how edgy it is. And it's all based on like really stupid shit. Like ReZero, the biggest thing about that was the heavy amounts of gore and death and watching a character go insane. Why the fuck is that a drawing point for a show? Now granted, people just like, you know, it's kind of like human nature. We like to watch train wrecks, but I don't want to fucking watch that shit. I just wasn't interested. You know, I've kind of walked away from sci-fi a lot, actually. Sci-fi in general has just kind of turned me off. So we're going to try to take some chances this season, and probably for the winter 2017 season. I need to cut the break complacency and break you being stuck in kind of a lull. You got to take more chances. That's kind of the point of the video. if you're stuck in an anime lull where you're only really watching like 1 or 2 or 3 shows a season, and they're all in that same little huggy area where it's like, oh, it's all right. You're not gonna get, you're not gonna, you're gonna enjoy anime less instead of enjoying it more because you're hanging around the few little genres. So I'm gonna take some more chances this time. I stopped taking chances for a while because it burned me. I kept getting burned on like every show I was watching. It was stupid. The problem now is like this season. I think the only 2 things I was watching was Sweetness and Lightning, or Lighting and Lighting or Lightning. I'm not totally sure which it is. And JoJo. Well, JoJo I already know most of the spoilers for, and Sweetness and Lightning is literally like a show that has potential, but just like every other show in anime, it doesn't want to fucking commit. Like, it doesn't want to go all the way. It mainly is like a cooking show. It's like a cooking anime with like little bits of slice of life, like little bit. It's not even like basic shit. It's painful. Um, and sometimes I need to just start taking risks more. Oh shit, I really do, and I think that's what it is. So if you're feeling like this, or if you have anything to add to the discussion, I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching. This has been Schizomanic here. Life is insane. May go crazy. Boom, boom. I don't know. I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Oh.